Hi, I'm Mimi, in case you don't know me. I just want to talk to you a little bit about God's love. And I am just constantly reminded, really daily, by all the great things that God does to show me that He loves me. From just phone calls to finding a parking spot to an unexpected friendship. But despite those little things, God has really done some real miracles in my life that I believe really shows His love for me. So I'd like to share with you something that happened to me about 3 or 4 years ago. About 3 or 4 years ago, I went to the doctor and he found a cyst on my ovary. And he just watched it for a little bit. But that cyst grew and it changed into something that was called a complex mass. It was about 8 centimeters large. And when I went back to the doctor, he told me essentially that I had ovarian cancer. He also said, I can't operate on you because this mass is too complex and I believe that it's attached to other organs. So I'm going to send you to an oncologist. So I remember just being completely devastated and just crying for days. And I just didn't understand how God could do this to me. I mean, I had been through a lot of other things in my life. I have always walked with God. And how could He do this to me right now? And if any of you know anything about ovarian cancer, the survival rate is only about 5 years. And I am a single mom, so the first thing I thought about is if I die from this, who's going to raise my child? And I had suffered from years of infertility. God finally gave me a child, and now I have a potential of dying and not being here for him. So it was really, really a difficult time in my life. I went to the oncologist, who ended up being this really nice woman. And she said to me, you know what, we're going to repeat this ultrasound. And so she repeated it. But you know that it's not good when your doctor or oncologist calls you one night, late at night. And she called me late one night, and she said to me, I just got back that ultrasound report, and I don't like what I'm seeing. And I just consulted with my colleague, and it doesn't look good. And I remember saying to her, are you telling me this is definitely ovarian cancer? And she said, Mimi, I hate to tell you this, but this is what it looks like. So the day comes for surgery. And my parents came up from Georgia, because now this is a pretty big deal. I remember walking into the operating room, and if anybody knows what I do for a living, this is sort of my field. And I walked into the operating room with one of the residents. I saw all the instruments around, and I knew what was going to happen to me. And I remember making a joke saying, I feel like I'm in the House of Horrors. And I got up on the table, and the anesthesiologist was getting ready to put me to sleep. And for some reason, I had this overwhelming sense of peace. I couldn't explain it, but it was this peace. I guess it was this total surrender at that point. And the oncologist was there. And she was actually holding my hand. And she said, you know what, I'm going to get every bit of it. I'm going to do everything I can to save you. And I remember, again, I just felt that peace, and I told her just thank you, thank you. And in my encouraging mode, I remember telling her, it sounds so funny, but you're going to do a great job. Well, I woke up from anesthesia, and I was really sleepy. And the first person I saw was her. And she was just looked so happy. She was smiling. I was really drowsy. But she said, Mimi, I have great news. I got the whole mass out. But the best news is this is not cancer. She said, I kept you open until I got the initial pathology report back. And it's not cancer. And she said, I inspected everything. There's not a sign of cancer inside of you. So I knew at that moment, without a doubt, that that was God. And that is a miracle showing God's love. I went back to see her about a month later. We had the final pathology report. It was completely negative. And the really extended thing that she told me was this was a type of mass that was so enlarged and it was ready to rupture. And that if we had not gone in for surgery at that time, it probably would have ruptured and I wouldn't be here today. So for me, this thing that happened to me 3 or 4 years ago is such an example of how much God loves me and He loves you. And I just want to encourage anybody out there, no matter what you're going through, God loves you. God doesn't want to hurt us. And we're at Christmas time and Christ and Christmas, and God gave us the greatest gift by giving us Jesus. And I really hope that somebody out there from these testimonies and from what I've just said really realizes how much God loves you. Thank you.